Hello beautiful souls, Avalon here, and today I have an outdoor unboxing. It's February and it is absolutely beautiful weather for us here in February. We have had a lot of rain, everything is quite green, although we've had a couple of days of sun, and so things are starting to lull in their colour palettes once again. But the mornings are very cool, so I've decided to come outside and film. Now I have been meaning to do this unboxing since, well, probably December we started talking about it, and then I had a big end of the year and then a big start to the year, and the package was sent in January or late December, but of course I went away on holidays to visit my sister and it arrived shortly after, and then it feels like this process has been taking a really long time. But today I'm going to be unboxing a very special deck, a deck that was sent to me for consideration by the creator, and I'm going to tell you all about this deck. This deck is very different and I'm going to be filming it very differently to what I usually do. This is not going to be my standard unboxing, because there's much more that I want to say about this deck, because I have had the chance to peruse it, to read about it. Usually I don't have the opportunity to do that, or I don't allow myself the opportunity to do that, but because this is a Kickstarter and the way that I ended up interacting with the creator was just through spontaneous means, I decided to bring it into closer consideration for myself and actually explore the themes that were being discussed by the creator. Now the deck that I'm talking about here is the Restless Tarot, and this is the Restless Tarot. This is the box. This is a sample of the deck itself, so should you feel inspired to acquire this deck after I do this review of sorts, then just know that the deck will look a little bit different. Some of the cards in here are a little bit different, and but like I said, this is a sample, not the final product. The book that comes with the deck is called Restless Meditations, and it is written by the creator, and that is Winslow Dumaine. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You know how when it comes to names it's very difficult. I have an Australian accent. The way that I would say things here is of course different to the way other people would say them in other parts of the world. So Winslow Dumaine, or Dumaine, and an artist and a creator, and he is all over social media, so I will link his social media accounts below, and I will also link the Kickstarter below, so you can have all those details right there at your fingertips to click. But I want to take a closer look at this. I have been looking at this online, like I said, so I am prepared to do a somewhat of a review, but not the in-depth review that I would normally have done if I were to use this deck for a 6-week or more period, which is the length of time. That's the minimum length of time that I like to give myself before I do a review, which is why I generally don't do too many reviews, because I have so many decks that spending 6 weeks with one seems impossible for me. But I'm culling my collection, in case you didn't know. Nice. This is nice. Matte finish. Sturdy. I'm digging the front image. It might seem a little ghastly to you, and then I'm going to flip it so you can see what's missing in the back. The finger and the ring. So it gives you a little indication. It's a little bit of a taste of the actual deck itself. So the inspiration for this deck I found quite phenomenal. The inspiration is one that was founded on personal shadow and pain. And the stories that you will find in the guidebook called Restless Meditations are stories that have been founded on the pain of women. And this I found incredibly interesting. So there's a lot of shadow in this particular deck, and the intention behind the shadow is to birth a healing. And the more I read about this, the more intrigued I became by it, not about it, but by it. And the more I wanted to see for myself if that was going to be the case for me, because it's all well and good to say that it is, but whether or not it's the case for me personally is yet to be seen. The book and the deck came separate. They did not come in a box. This wasn't obviously packaged together. The deck has its own box. So the book came loose, which gave me an opportunity to peruse the book. And I did these ones. and opened it up to the Five of Wands. So I'm going to be reading the Five of Wands to you, and I just want you to know that it's heavy. It's a heavy one. It's a really, really heavy one. Well, at least it was for me. So if you are a very sensitive individual, if you are the type of person that really feels it, then I place it in your hands for consideration. Is this something that you want to hear? It's up to you. I don't want to censor you. I don't want to influence you. I certainly don't want to upset you on purpose, so I'm just giving you a little insight. Now, there is a natural intensity to this deck, and that is something that does not go unnoticed. The stories have a weight, have a shadow, have a meatiness to them that you almost don't, you want to look but you don't. It's like, oh my god, there's an accident, I don't want to look. Oh no, yes I do, I want to know, you know. It's a little bit like that, and so I look forward to bringing a little bit of that to you for your consideration. Sit with it, play it around, let it swish around in your mind, and just see what it does, see what it activates inside of you. Maybe this is for you, maybe it's not for you, and that's okay. I like it. I can already say that. I like it. For whatever reason, I like it. It's not my usual artwork, but I still like it. It's not my usual themes, but right now, in this moment in my life, when I'm doing deep shadow work and soulful work and working in the darkness of my personal soul space, this deck suits me right now. It fits well with the themes that I have swimming around me right now. Less chatting, more cards. So the box is beautiful. It is a light greeny grey, I would say. I've got good light here at the moment, but it's interesting. Inside of the box is standard white. Cards come in such a fashion. So it's got a little plastic band around them. The backing, interesting backing, I like it. And let's remove the plastic sleeve. Smells like fresh printer. You know that smell, folks. Stock is about 300 GSM, I'd say, just from standard. It's got a flexiness to it, flexi laminate sort of to it, and I would say that if you like to riffle shuffle your cards, this will be a dream. It's going to do it quite easy. I've just got that sensation that it will be a good one. Now there is an almost linen-like finish. I'm not sure if I can hold it up here, if it will pick up some of the linen-like finish. If I bring it nice and close, I don't know if it is. Anyways, we start with the Ace of Swords here. Interesting. Now, I will not show the entire deck, as I never show the entire deck. Two of Swords. Now, I've been warned. I'm just going to put them back in the box because it's a bit windy. I've been warned that there is, obviously the scenes are gruesome. There are some gruesome scenes. Not the scenes are gruesome, because that's a generalization, isn't it? No, that there are some gruesome scenes in here. There's a reason for that, which I will explain soon. Four of Swords. It's very line work. I feel a little bit of Anna Turian here. I feel a little, almost a little Kim Krantz. Six of Swords. Now I was told there's two nines. There's a confusion with the Nine of Swords. That's what I was told. And there was a confusion with the Nine of Swords, and this is what they discovered from their print run. So I'm just going to leave the 9s out for the moment, just because I'm not sure, just not sure. Okay, this is the 7 of Swords. I love the Suit of Swords. I love the Suit of Swords, so I'm showing you the Suit of Swords. This is the 8. 8 of Swords is known to be one of my favourite cards. Then we have the Thrall of Swords, which would be the Page, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. So let's have a red hot go at these ones. There we go. What do you think? What do you think so far? Start jotting it down. Start jotting the thoughts down. Now, the Ace. Very interesting. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit here. I'm going to show you the ones that are grabbing my eye. I find the use of colour in this deck to be quite interesting, and because colour has been used so sparingly, it really does draw your eye to the necessary places that the artist himself has chosen to highlight. There is just a creepiness to this deck that is not usually my bag, but wait, just wait. Oh, at first I was like, oh, yeah, but I get excited about decks really easily, and right now I'm going through a transformation of taste whereby I am attempting to determine what I like and what I am excited about, because I'm feeling a mass pull to that excitement. So I'm sitting with things for a lot longer, and I sat with this one. I got really excited when I saw it, and then I looked at it very carefully and I went, that's actually really different for me. So why am I interested in it? Like, is it because it was just put in front of me? Am I that person? No. And so I sat with it and I sat with it. And then I went through a process of, I'm not sure if the artwork is actually calling to me. And then I went through a process of like, actually, I find the artwork a little bit amusing. And then I looked at it again and I'm like, is it weird that there's a comical aspect to this? And I had to work through it for myself. And I got to a place where I'm like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Full acceptance that it is what it is. And how I feel about it is how I feel about it. It's certainly probably not going to be what you feel about it, but that's how I feel about it. I can't even. 10 of Wands, here we go. Has a saintly feel to it, doesn't it? Bleeding fingers, saintly feel. Intriguing. The Knight of Wands, check him. Can you hear the cicadas in the background? So nice. It's nice to be filming outside. The Queen of Wands, when you begin to Google this deck, you will see the Queen of Wands. And here's the King of Wands, which is very interesting. You have the Ace of Cups. So as you can see, it's writer inspired, but it's not writer standard, it's not cloney. 2 of Cups. Three. Let's look at the 4 now, because the 4 is a bit of a trip out. And the 5. You want the 8 of Cups? Take a deep one. Started off with the minors, so I'm keen to get to the majors. 5 of Stars, so we have a suit renamed, obviously. Seven of Stars. Eight of Stars, we have a Kabbalistic influence there. We have the 10. The Knight. The Queen. Just see what I mean? It's a little hard hitting. My hair is like glowing red. The Undecided. Okay, I think this is the Fool. The Sorceress. So I do have a feeling that we're going to see a feminine major. Yep. Oh no, the Hierophant's not. The Contemptress. The Widower. The Widow. Here we have the Hierophant. I don't love the Hierophant card. The Lovers. Interesting, isn't it? That's another card that you'll see when you Google it. We have Black Smoke. Revenge. Oh my gosh. So many good ones. The Hanged Man here. Open Grave. So majors have been changed. We have Treachery. The Degenerate. There are no numbers. There are no numbers on the majors either. A snake lives in our backyard, quite a big one. So when I hear a little rustle, I've just got to, I don't want to be crept up on. Here's the Tower. The Star. It actually reminds me a little bit of one of the Swords cards in the Bone Stone. The Moon. This is pretty. And then we have the Sun. Judgment. And the World. So I'm going to film a little more of the cards, sort of spread out, and talk a little bit about the vibe of the deck in keeping with the guidebook. So let's try that out for something a little bit different, okay? I would like to read for you the About section of the guidebook called Restless Meditations. It reads, "The Tarot Restless was distilled through the grief and contemplation that followed the end of an abusive relationship and betrayals by several close friends. The realization that I would never build a family with my beloved inspired me with a vision of an apocalypse brought on by global infertility. Further, my fear that I may spend the rest of my life stumbling through ink-black depression appeared to me as an inescapable wall of smoke. Many of these stories included in this book were inspired in a similar manner. I drew lessons from my experiences and retold them in fantastical settings. I believe people should explore their suffering. Appreciation of the cause of pain is the key to growth. If you suffer and do not create, you will have suffered for nothing. Many cards were inspired by strong women in my life. Their struggles with abuse and violence helped me to understand my own suffering much better, and I cannot thank them enough. At first look, many of these cards seem steeped with themes of violence, treachery, and revenge. But look closer. This is the structure to express the values of camaraderie, loyalty, forgiveness, and renewal. All things must end. Without ending, regrowth is impossible. I hope this deck provides a window to your pain, and with this, you may grow stronger. Winslow Dumaine. The Five of Wands, the Night Knives wrest their revenge. Proper, personal safety, direct justice and social hygiene. Inverted, vulnerability, dangerous situations and oppression. Crises hurt everyone, but those already suffering and marginalisation suffer to an exponentially greater degree. Infertility has long been considered a failure by women, and a bizarre number of cruel methods of stimulating their fertility have been perpetuated against women for generations. Across all nations, the cruelest and most common response is that of sexual violence, inflicted in such a manner as to force the victim into conception. The tale of the Night Knives tells of a group of hooded women who visit the men who commit and permit these actions, and with knives and torches maim the very organ of that violence. The terror they spread caused other groups of affiliated women to band together, and so they quickly took on a mythic quality. Women still live in fear, as may always be the case, but men too have spectres of retributed violence from which to hide. This card is an omen of escape from an undesirable situation to another that affords more liberty. Those who draw this card should take action upon that which has wronged them, as they cannot expect others to do so on their behalf. That said, be careful of those who bring with them violence or impropriety. Even if those under the sign have not been hurt, others may be in harm's way. Permissiveness to evil is complicity in perpetuation. Those who draw this card inverted may be vulnerable themselves and find they are in a dangerous situation. This inverted sign indicates an oppressive force, causing lamentable restrictions on financial, physical, sexual, or intellectual freedom. That was the Five of Wands. So there you have it. Now that you can see for yourself the deck, have a little taster, let it swish it around in your mind, create some opinions about it, and see where you go with that for yourself. But it is, for me, a very different deck, and I honour the process that the artist has gone through to bring that deck to fruition. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, and I know that decks that contain strong images of violence or that can trigger that recognition or recollection of trauma within the individual can be very difficult to handle, and therefore maybe something that, you know, not everyone will want to respond to immediately. But I do believe that the artist has done something quite special here, and that something special really came out of his soulful aspect, his work, and you know, that in itself is very beautiful. Remembering always that art is subjective and intentions behind decks are different, you know, from deck to deck, in accordance with the motivations of the creator themselves. And this is something that I can honestly say from personal perspective, because I am a deck creator myself, and it is something that is uniquely personal, and you know, that is a beautiful thing. And so I have really enjoyed this one for so many different reasons. Usually I'm pulled to really whimsical decks, or really colourful decks, or really feminine decks, or I don't know, I couldn't even quite put into words what my favourite type of art is. Quite frankly, I just look at something, and if I find it beautiful, then it's beautiful to me, and I don't need to go beyond that for myself. There are those that are attracted to particular types of art. I'm not that type of person. I can find beauty in most things. It's because I'm looking for beauty in most things that I can see beauty in most things, and then beyond that, I want to resonate with it at a deeper level. For a deck, that's really important to me. I can't just take a deck on face value. A deck can be very beautiful, and I have many beautiful decks in my collection. Do they read remarkably well? Not always. Not always. And that's because there is there is this necessity to bind the beauty with the triggered feeling for me, and that is something that's really important, and that's what creates a deck that I have personal synergy with. And and that process is individual from person to person, but I really do like this deck. I like the intentions behind it. I find them very heavy, I find them very dark, I find them very triggery, and that's why I like it. I like it because it has made me feel uncomfortable, because it has made me think about things that I haven't had to think about for a long time, to put things into perspective that I myself have never had to endure, and yet I recognize that others have. And it creates this, I don't know, this deeper awareness. It's a very triggery type of deck. It's a bold deck for shadow work. It's a bold deck for a woman to work with, or a person who identifies as a woman to work with this particular deck. It is a very bold deck, and yet for a man it brings a totally different synergy into being, and that synergy is something that I myself can't talk about because I'm not a guy. So I wanted to put that out there, and I wanted to allow you to have a little taster of this particular one, because as you can see, just from the way that I am talking to you, the way that I filmed it this time, it is very different. And it's that very different aspect that has got me intrigued. And this potentially is not a deck that I will use for clients, and it will be instead a deck that I will use for myself, for those times when I am needing to do a bit more soulful work, and I am needing to dig a little bit deeper and to be triggered when I want to be triggered. Sometimes I want to be triggered. I just want to sort through something, and I want to have the experience, and I don't want to shy away from it. I'm not backwards and coming forwards with things. When I recognize that there's a facet that I need to work on, then I just go all guns a-blazing, and I have to work it out. I have to talk things out, I have to work things out, I have to confront, I have to do those sorts of things, and that's my process. There are others that don't have that process, or that are not as, full on with their processes, and each to their own in that regard. But this deck is one of those decks that I believe that for me and my way of doing things will work really well in helping to trigger aspects in my subconscious that do need to be worked on. And when I'm in my season of shadow work, like I am at the moment, I'm working on the mother womb. I said the mother womb. It is really, but it's the mother wound that I am working on at the moment, and it's something that I have not touched on before in my own personal workings, so it's taking me to a deeper, darker place, and that's okay. That's my process at the moment. And so this deck comes to me in this moment, and I can genuinely resonate with it and accept that its natural, bizarre darkness is precisely the area that I am moving through at the moment. Because after so long, these old wounds that I'm personally working on look very distorted and bizarre, and so it's a beautiful lens of a deck for me to work with at this moment in time. And if you have resonated with anything that I have said, then you may find some kind of medicine in this deck for you as well. If you're the type of person that just enjoys that darker art, that more bizarre aspect, that interesting, quirky, bizarrely comical in a way. I'm not doing this deck any justice with my descriptions, mind you, but if that is something that really triggers you, then go for it as well. You'll probably find medicine with it for you as well. And I find that there's a little something in here for most people, even if the deck doesn't scream, yay! It is... it's very special. It's very special. So that was The Restless Tarot by Winslow Dumaine, and it is on Kickstarter. I will leave all of the links in the description box below. If you have liked this video, give it a thumbs up, share it around, share the artist's work. My personal opinion, bring a little attention to his campaign, and if it's not something that really resonated with you, that's totally fine, that's totally okay, and each to their own in that way, and I totally respect that. So much love and many blessings. Please look after yourselves. Mwah. Bye.